Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Kari and this is Tiger Lily Designs. Welcome to my special episode today. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the details, all the deets of my finally finished Miss Mary. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know some of the history, some of the ins and outs of her, but I'm going to put everything about her all in one video because there were lots of changes, lots of tweaks, lots of hiccups along the way that I just want to share with you about her. But oh my gosh, let's just, without further ado, bring her out. Yay! I finally finished her. Oh my gosh. So she deserved her own special video, like I said, to explain to you everything about her because I made many changes. Some by choice, some not by choice, but I just want to explain them all in one place. Like I said, I've been telling you guys with them throughout this year. She was a birthday start for me. January of 2022 is when I started her as a Sal with lots of friends on Instagram. I will go ahead and put the hashtag right here. You can go and check it out. There's lots of people still stitching her because she's a big girl. I like to call her affectionately one of my big girls. She is my first finished big girl. She's going to be the anchor piece on my funky floral historical sampler wall in my home. I can't wait to hang her up. I had to come and share with you guys all the details about her. So let's just start off. Like I said, I'm going to try to hold her up just so you guys can look at her while I'm chatting. But in case you are unfamiliar with her, this is a chart by Fox and Rabbit. It is a historical Welsh sampler. It's 289 by 291. Again, the big girl sampler. Beautiful, beautiful colors. It is charted in DMC. So like I said, this was a birthday start for me. I bought this as a kit from my friend Rachel at TreeHouse Fiber Arts. Now I have everything in my project keeper. I went ahead and I kept look at those DMCs. Most of them are still bobbinated. Some of them I used almost all of the colors. You only needed one skein except for one of the colors you needed two. But I went ahead and I kitted this up with the DMC, called for DMC floss. But as you can tell, the fabric is not called for. It was called for a tanny gray, a tanny color. I don't even know what it was. But Rachel and Sue is the dyer for LFA Linens, decided that Nor'easter Gray, her beautiful hand-dyed Aida, it's also linen, would be a perfect backdrop for these colors. And oh my gosh, was she right. This is 16 count Nor'easter Gray Aida. Yes, you can stitch samplers on Aida and it'll still look gorgeous. I can't see linen, can't see the holes. And so I'm an Aida stitcher. So this is 16 count, 2/1, 2 strands over 1, DMC floss. And the chart you can get from Fox and Rabbit, PDF on their website, or you can grab it at your LNS online or local. So now let's dig into some of the details, some of the changes I made. Like I said, I've told you them throughout the year. I think she finished up in July. Took me a while to get her framed. I'll tell you that story at the end, but let's just start off with where I started. So I did a center start. I did a center start because the beautiful rose, it was the colors in the rose that drew me in. So I started with the rose and I just went to town. If you go back through my Instagram, you can see lots of late nights, cold days, perfect winter stitching on this beautiful color rose. Little wakes you up a little bit, takes you out of the dreary snow when you've got these bright colors. Anyway, so I did the rose and then I went to the right, did a little bit of these motifs. I was trying to get to the border because I knew this border, it's not my first sampler, not my first time at the rodeo, but I knew that I wanted to get this border in. And that's where change number 1 happens. So I go ahead and I come over and I just get into the rhythm, figure out the pattern and do it. The entire border. And it connects. Yay! That's always a fantastic time, right? And so I didn't stitch it all. I did hash 1 crosses just to make sure I wasn't going to have to frog. Went all the way around. And then I started completing it. And then I'm watching my friends Rachel and Sue, who were stitching along with me, talk about, oh, did you see that the border, there was 2 areas somewhere in this border that Miss Mary, sweet little young thing she was, miscounted. And so instead of 5 or 6 stitches. I don't remember, but it wasn't symmetrical. There are 2 spots where it's not symmetrical. Hence 289 and 291 as the size. Well, I went symmetrical and it works out. So that's exciting. So that was my change. Number 1. Again, that was a not by choice. Now let's switch off to some of the by choice changes. So as you can see, I've got all 26 letters of the alphabet. Miss Mary didn't. Miss Mary, which was very common back then, but Miss Mary left out the I and the Y in her charting. Well, as a person who hopes to one day have little grandchildren walking around her house and stumbling around and learning the ABCs and knowing this was going to be a foundational piece in my home for years and years and years, I wanted all 26 letters. I wanted to teach my grandchildren all 26 letters. And so what I did is I went ahead, grabbed a piece of graph paper, and charted them up myself. So I used some of the other letters, kind of just made them up, but I'm going to put these. So note down below, there's a link to my blog. What I have is I have a full blog post that has all the info. If I give you like this chart, this will be on the blog post. You could, of course, just take it in a screenshot if that's the way you want to do it. But you can also link down. I will have an image on my blog as well as the other charting other area of charting that I have changed is also available on my blog. But so I went ahead and I added 2 letters. By adding 2 letters, I did lose the 2 motifs at the end of the alphabet. I did end up using one of them later on, you'll see. Now, another change within the alphabet is some of the colors. White is a color that was in the chart. It shows up great on this, dark tan. It did not show up on my nor'easter gray, not enough for me. And so what I did is I switched the colors up enough so I would put the white inside the colors so it was framing it, and then the white would pop. That way it wasn't the exterior and I didn't lose the dimension of the letters. Let's see, what are some other the changes I've made? Okay, so in the chart, there's supposed to be 4 more birds, 2 here and 2 here. Unfortunately, this was another Tiger Lily counting error. But it's not an error, we're just going with it. So you can see right here, see there's one little bobble on the chart. What do you see? 2 bobbles, yay, no. So I missed a second bobble. I had already started stitching the flowers and the petals and all the things because they aren't 10 stitches higher. I lost the space for the birds and they just wouldn't fit. I couldn't squinch them enough. I couldn't reduce them enough to fit. So there's just a little more breathing room, a little more area for this beautiful fabric to pop. Another thing that I changed was down below, there were 2 white cats. Again, the white thread wasn't fitting. It wasn't popping on my fabric. So I went ahead and took out the white cats and utilized these little trident, Dabo's dreaming. Sorry. See the little trident motifs right there. Those were up at the letter area and the chart. So I put them down here and just made them a little longer, taller so that they would fit. The last couple of changes down here below, Miss Mary had stitched her name. I went ahead and I took her name out. I will give her reference on the back. But I just didn't I like to change them and make them my own. And so I went ahead and I did another rainbow ribbon along the bottom. And the biggest change that I made was the quote. You will see that in the pattern, there's a big old box and a Welsh biblical quote. I wanted this to, again, making it mine again. And the reason that I was drawn to Miss Mary was the color. The color and the vibrancy speaks to me. I am a lover of all the colors. And so what I did is I searched high and low until I found this beautiful quote by Oscar Wilde that I love. Color can speak to the soul in 1,000 different ways. So I went ahead and I charted that. Again, that will be available on my blog. And I went ahead and I did the colors in a rainbow Roy G. Biv colors, and then I stitched all the other letters in my favorite purple. That's it. I think that's all the changes I made, at least all the ones I remember. And then last but not least is the framing. So I like to source thrifted frames and frame myself. This one chose was a pickle to find a frame for. It ended up being the stitch on 16 count, ended up being 17¼ by 17¼ and I could not find a frame. I could find a frame that was 22 by 22, really, really big, too much border. I don't like a lot of fabric on the outside. And so it was just too big. I could not find one. And so I was gonna do the power tool, make my own, because this is gonna be the anchor of my sampler wall. I just couldn't do it. I wasn't happy. I still have a learning curve on that one. So then I went and I got it quoted at a couple of the local framing shops, fell out of my chair and decided that's not the way I'm gonna go. And instead I found a great online source. So you can see, let me zoom in. So this is a 2-inch wide black wooden, beautiful frame with this little bead accent on the side. There is no glass. No glass. And then, so I will link the website down below. It is a individual small business up in New York, and I will link them down below, and you can get the frame, no glass, and you can pick your inside. So I picked an acid-free foam core, and that's what I used. And so then I just do my normal, and I think I have a video that I will link down below showing you guys how I frame a thrifted frame. Same concept, using pins. There's a pin every 6 inches, every 6 squares of Aida, not 6 inches. I would do so that way I know it was straight. I would use my pins and the lines. It's just like counting, except a lot. So there's probably 100 pins in here all around the edge of the foam core, going around, holding taut, and then she's ready to frame on the wall. So I'm so excited. I hope you like her. I hope maybe this helps. Maybe you want to pull her out if you've been stitching her. If she is in your whip basket, pull her out and give her some love. If you are drawn to her, give her a start. That's what I've got for you, friends. So until next time, happy stitching.